Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube citizens, y'all know what time it is. It's another Modern Warfare 3 gameplay with your boy, Dash and Tru Inferno. Back at it with a Search and Destroy gameplay, another one, my second one that I'm showing y'all, playing with FD Chick, as you can clearly see. So let's get straight into the topic. As you all should be aware, the NBA season is here. Yes, so many questions, and I'm going to tackle just about every question that there is. Starting with the Eastern Conference, and we're going to do this in alphabetical order by division. So we're going to start with the Atlantic Division. Obviously, we all know the Brooklyn Nets are a heavy favorite to win the East with their latest acquisition of Paul Pierce, KG, and Jason Terry playing alongside with Darren Williams, Brook Lopez, and what's his name? Oh, yes, Joe Johnson. So, and of course, they got a new head coach, and believe it or not, it's Jason Kidd. So, how far can this team go? That's a good question. Well, because of the talent that they have, and because of the division that they're in, I see the Brooklyn Nets winning the division, taking it away from the New York Knicks. Yes, that's right. Speaking of those Knicks, well, they haven't really done much, really. They lost one of their big three-point shooters to the team that knocked them off the postseason last year in the Indiana Pacers. But now the question is, can Amare Stoudemire perform to an all-star level once again now that he's healthy or should be close to being healthy or whatever the scenario is? And we ain't going to talk about what Carmelo said about free agency and all that nonsense, you know. Now, if the New York Knicks can perform, expect the team to challenge the Brooklyn Nets for the division. If not, the Knicks will still make the playoffs, but that's pretty much it. Then you look at everybody else in that division. The Toronto Raptors, who some people say they could make the playoffs this year. I look at that roster, the only person I see is Rudy Gay. That's it. Everything else, no. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the pieces that could propel the Toronto Raptors to the playoffs. I'm just not seeing it. Then you have the Boston Celtics, who is in turmoil, going with the young movement there. And there's even talks about them trading Rajon Rondo, who, by the way, won't be healthy and won't be back until, and this is what I heard, until the All-Star game, around that point in time. So it's like, not looking good for Boston. Then, of course, you got Philly. Not much to say about them there. All right, moving on to, in my opinion, the best division in the East and possibly in all the NBA. That's the Central Division. Obviously, the Pacers are the division champions, the defending divisional champions there. But here comes Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose is back. He looks real good in the postseason. Some people are predicting him to win the MVP from LeBron James this year. Wow, okay. So let's talk about this division real quick. The Indiana Pacers, obviously, we all know, made it to the conference finals and gave the Heat problems, and will give the Heat problems again this year because of their size, you know, on the court, that is. So, the thing is, if they make a trade for a true point guard, which is the one thing that they do not have, but if they make a trade for that one true point guard, this team is going to be something fierce. So, let's talk about Chicago. Now, as you know, the Bulls, they got Derrick Rose back, even though they lost Nate Robinson. I don't know why they got rid of him. To me, that is not a good move. But whatever the case, they still got Carlos Boozer, Lou Aldane, Joakim Noah, and all that cats or whatever. The question is, will they play alongside Derrick Rose, or will they do what they did 2 years ago and just sit back, relax, and let Derrick Rose try to take over? If they do that, then no, this team is not going far. But if they play alongside Derrick Rose with that defense, this team will be something fierce as well. Then, of course, you got my Detroit Pistons, who got Josh Smith and Brandon Jennings, and they brought back Chauncey Billups, and they got a new coach in Mo Cheeks, and they drafted Caldwell Pope, who should be a major plus in the long run. I expect this team to make the playoffs as a 6th seed. Some idiots actually believe that they won't make the playoffs. I don't know what they've been smoking. The way this lineup is set up with Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond, how can you go against this team? Yeah, there's some issue with Josh Smith at small forward. Brandon Jennings, even though he's more of a scorer point guard or wannabe scoring point guard, but playing alongside with Chauncey Billups, a true point guard, and Jennings' determination to be a true point guard should help this team out and make the playoffs. Now we get to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who but they're the ones who picked up Andrew Bynum, and they got him alongside with Kyle Irving, who is, in my opinion, one of the best young point guards in the league. They also brought in Jarrett Jack, and drafted UNLV's Anthony Bennett. So this team, even though I can't stand anything Cleveland related, should make the playoffs, but it all falls on Andrew Bynum. Oh, they also brought back Mike Brown. So, yeah, that's a big plus as well. So, if Andrew Bynum is healthy and seem interested in playing, yes, this team should make the playoffs. I got this team as a AC. But if Andrew Bynum not healthy or he just don't seem interested in playing, I don't see him making the playoffs. Not just yet. Then you got the Milwaukee Bucks, who made the playoffs last year. Now, they got rid of Brandon Jennings for Brandon Knight. and they let go of Monte Ellis. They kind of risky though, but they kept OJ Mayo, and they got this one cat in the draft who they really stole. I can't even pronounce his name because he got a long last name, and I can't even pronounce his first name. But despite all of that, I don't expect Milwaukee to do much here. Like, they could challenge for a playoff spot, but I'm not seeing it. So as far as who wins this division, I got the Pacers. I got the Pacers winning this division over the Chicago Bulls, which would be a close one. Then I got Detroit, then Cleveland, then Milwaukee. Southeast Division? Come on, bro. We all know Miami winning this division. But the question is, can Miami make it to the finals? Their big weakness was the lack of size down the perimeter. Chris Bosh, the Birdman, yeah, there are some great players, but as far as going against the likes of the Indiana Pacers and the San Antonio Spurs, the big man wasn't getting the job done. So now they brought in Greg Oden, the guy who's been injury prone throughout his career so far. But if Greg Oden, who some people say he kind of looked good in the preseason, if he plays like he's supposed to play, then it's pretty much a wrap. This team winning the division hands down. They're going to get the number 1 seed hands down. They're going to win the conference hands down. Heck, they're going to win it all hands down. Greg Oden plays like he's supposed to. Look at this. I got 2 kills right here, and I was the last guy left. How crazy is that? Now, let's talk about another team in this division. The Atlanta Hawks. They went backwards big time. They lost Josh Smith and Al Horford could request the trade. They did pick up Elton Brand, Paul Millsap, Jeff Teague, and Kyle Korver, but they would still be in the bottom of the conference in terms of trying to get a playoff spot. Now, in my mind, I think they will indeed get a playoff spot. So, yeah, there you go. Then, you got Washington, who some people believe they could make the playoffs because of John Wall. And I'm like, that's it? No, you need more than that. So, who they got? Trevor Ariza? Need more than that. Shannon Brown? Okay, but still not enough. Al Harrington? Still need more. Bradley Bell from Florida? Questionable. But I'm just not seeing it. Despite John Wall, again, another one of those young, talented point guards, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it from Washington. I don't think they'll make the postseason. And don't get me started on Charlotte and Orlando. So my 8 teams in the East are in this order. Miami, Indiana, Brooklyn, Chicago, New York, Detroit, Atlanta, and Cleveland. Now going out to the rest look like this, starting with the Northwest Division. We all know the Oklahoma City Thunder got that division a lot, but there's questions regarding Russell Westbrook and his health. If he's healthy and plays like he's healthy, this team is back in the mix. If not, then this team is in a world of trouble. But nevertheless, they still will win this division. Now keep your eyes on the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going with the youth movement, and it is working. It is working. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they added Kevin Martin. They got Corey Brewer to play with J.J. Barea, Ricky Rubio, and Kevin Love. That's a nice young nucleus right there. And nobody on that team is older than 30. So, yeah, I see this team getting into the postseason, but not really challenging for the division. And now we go to the team who took the biggest step back ever in my eyes, and that's the Denver Nuggets. Last year, they won 57 games. They had the 3rd best record in the West, 4th best record in the entire NBA. That's not happening this year. It's just that they lost, obviously, Andre Iguodala. They fired George Karl. They got rid of their general manager. They lost their best interior defender in Costa Koufos. It just so much has happened. They went from 3rd to, in my opinion, a team that would barely make the postseason. I still got them making the postseason because of who they have left, but I'm just not seeing it. You know, they just took a huge step back. Then you got the Portland Trail Blazers, who picked up Robin Lopez and Thomas Robinson to fix their interior defense. Darrell Wright and Mo Williams off the bench playing alongside with LaMarcus Aldridge and the reigning Rookie of the Year, Damian Lillard. And longer than a trade, LaMarcus, this team could make the playoffs, but I'm not seeing it, not just yet. But this is a good start for Portland. They are in a step in the right direction. Again, as long as they do not trade LaMarcus Aldridge. And then, of course, Utah, even though they got my boy Trey Burke, the best college the best college basketball player going into the league, but at the moment he have a broken finger. So that's not exactly happening. So don't expect much from Utah this year. Now we get to the Pacific Division here, as the Clippers are the team that represents LA now, not the Lakers. They got Doc Rivers as their coach. They brought in sharpshooter J.J. Redick and Jared Dudley. They kept Chris Paul and Matt Barnes. And all of them are playing with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. This team will make some noise. They will get the number 1 seed in the West and will challenge for the Western Conference crowd. However, they still got some issues regarding the interior presence behind Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Behind them 2 guys, who they got? They got nobody. And they missing a shutdown on-ball defender, unless you want to count Chris Paul for that. So when it comes to the postseason, where they go against the likes of the San Antonio Spurs, maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder, maybe the Memphis Grizzlies, they're gonna have some problems with that low post interior presence behind Griffin and Jordan, and that, in my opinion, will cost them. Now we move on to the Golden State, but yeah, they're still in the division. Like I said, they'll still get the number 1 seed. Now we move on to the Golden State Warriors, who, in my opinion, have the most explosive player in the NBA in Stephen Curry. They got really good because even though they lost Jarrett Jack and Carl Landry, they picked up Andre Iguodala. They replaced them 2 guys with Tony Douglas and Maurice Spates. So they should be good as well. They got rid of not two, but they got rid of a couple of big contracts in Richard Jefferson, Brandon Russ, and Andre Biendris. How do you say his name, forever? However, they do got some health issues. Regarding David Lee, Fedis Ezeli, Andrew Bogut, Jermaine O'Neal, and even Stephen Curry himself. Either they are injured or they are injured prone. So if they can get healthy, this team can be a sleeper out in the West. If they're not healthy, then yeah, this team could be facing some problems. And then we move on to the Los Angeles Lakers, who they still got Paul Gasol, they still got Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant. He's still there, but the problem is he's injured right now. So should they tank the season, or should they try to make the postseason only to be eliminated in the first round? I think they should tank the season. Still kept their nucleus intact. They still kept their team intact. They added one piece into the mix who is a good three-point shooter that could help this team out. I expect them to win the division. I expect them to get the second best record in the rest. Behind them are the Houston Rockets with obviously Dwight Howard playing alongside with James. Now the problem I hear is, is Dwight Howard's health. There's a bunch of problems here in Houston at this point in time. Dwight Howard's health is one of them. He's coming off a back injury. So really play like the Dwight Howard, who will outrun other centers, get in that right position, and dominating the paint with his rebound, blocking shots, or scoring, but yet who still needs to work on his free throws. Or will we see the Dwight Howard who was playing like he was in LA, who again still needs to work on his free throws. Now, speaking of Dwight Howard, that brings me to another issue, and that's Omar Aziz, who was balling last year as their starting center. Now he's complaining because Dwight taking his spot. He wants to be traded, but they are not trading him. So what will they do with Omar Aziz? Will he come off the bench, or will they put him at power forward? So that's a little scenario right there. Then there's Jeremy Lin, because they need a true point guard to get the ball to Dwight Howard so he could get more shots. Last year, that team is still intact. They brought in Nick Calates as a backup point guard, and Mike Miller will help this team as well. They still got the defensive player of the year, Marc Gasol. They still got Mike Conley. The rest is, I'm not seeing the New Orleans Pelicans. Really? So out rest, here's my 8 teams going into the postseason. I got the Los Angeles Clippers, the 1st seed, the San Antonio Spurs, the 2nd seed, the Oklahoma State, number 7, the Timberwolves. Now, as far as who I got going to the finals, I got this rematch from last year, the San Antonio Spurs over the Clippers, squaring off the Miami Heat, who will knock off the Indiana Pacers. And at the end of the day, even though I want the Spurs to win so they could get one more victory, one more title before that whole nucleus self-destructs because of our age, I have to give it to Miami for a 3-peat. So that's my predictions. The game been over, as you can see, and I did okay in this Search and Destroy, but FD Chick dominated. This is the new Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. the new Stephen A. Smith. I'm much better than Stephen A. Smith. I'm playing, man. But yeah, man, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.